Que paso, amigos across the globe? This is Jaime Enfuego from ENFUEGOTAINMENT, and I just wanted to say bienvenidos because this is my first time actually for ENFUEGOTAINMENT talking about something besides music and movies. And so I'm a native here in Arizona, or Phoenix, as you guys can see right here on my jacket, and there's only a couple sports teams in all of deportes that I genuinely get sad, distressed, depressed, and upset when they're not succeeding and when they're struggling. And that's Arizona State University football, okay? The United States men's national soccer team, or football to be specific, and most importantly, this team right here on my shirt, the Phoenix Suns. Now, as a native, I remember when the Cardinals were the new team in town, and pretty much the only thing we'd always had was the Suns. And so the very first sports games I ever went to here as a kid in Phoenix, I went and saw on the Madhouse on McDowell, man. I saw Thunder Dan, and I got to see Tom Chambers and Jeff Hornacek. I was born in 1983, and so when the team picked up KJ and they were going through that renaissance in the late 80s, early 90s, and they were building towards eventually getting Barkley and being so relevant and so awesome. Yeah, I was right there throughout the transition and remember it very, very genuinely. And so when my Suns are struggling, more so than even the other two sports teams that I mentioned, it hits me in the feels, guys. And so I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs, I've seen so many players come and go since the change to America West Arena, US Airways Center. I even forget what they're calling it now. I believe it's Auction, no, not Auction, it's Talking Stick Resort Arena now, I think, but none of that is of importance, the changing commercial, sponsorships and stuff like that. What is of most importance today is the fact that Jeff Hornacek was fired as the Phoenix Suns head coach, and it is a situation, just an utter debacle that I had to open up about. I should have been talking music and movies and stuff like I normally do here on ENFUEGOTAINMENT, but this is what I like to call an Enfuegotorial. This is where I got something I have to editorialize, and I've written about sports and stuff a little bit since, becoming a printed journalist in 2009. Here we are 7 years later, and it's mostly, the entertainment that I cover, but I still love my sports. I grew up playing basketball and soccer. Both of my younger brothers have played collegiately and are coaches now, and so even though music and film is where my love has drifted, I still am forever dedicated towards sports and the Suns specifically. And what struggles these guys have had this year. I mean, we were really thinking, hopes were high. Mine were skeptical, though, because honestly, with firing Jeff Hornacek, I really feel like you are just looking for a scapegoat in a situation that just seems to be getting worse and worse. First and foremost, we saw a mini renaissance Jeff Hornacek's first year here. So he inherits a team, and he gets them running and shooting threes, and even kind of playing some hard-nosed defense a little bit, having been under the tutelage of Jerry Sloan for all those years. And so it's like, we saw this amazing year. They won almost 50 games. I bought into it. I bought back into the system after being so just jaded and disenfranchised after the loss of Nash and those wonderful glory years that I was a season ticket holder for most of them, from 2006 all the way until I believe it was 2012 or 2013 when myself and the family decided to finally just, not so much give up, but just, move our finances where we were going to see a little bit more enjoyment perhaps or something. So yeah, I saw that 48-win season here 2 years ago, and I didn't think it was fool's gold. I legitimately saw the archetype, the blueprint for a very successful team in the West. I loved seeing PJ Tucker. I even loved Double G, Gerald Green, and what he brought off the bench. He was not a starter per se, but, he was a good energy player, and I loved Dragic, though. And the fact, first and foremost, the biggest thing that I have to say was just a debacle is what the GM has done. I personally see the predominance of the fault being with Ryan McDonough. I do, he was brought over from Boston, and that first year, everyone was just on cloud nine because, new GM comes in, younger guy, he's smart, he's more in tune with some of these younger players and maybe some of these younger, more savvy, ways of kind of putting a franchise together, putting a team together. And so they had all that success. Most improved player, my boy Goran Dragic. He was All-NBA third team. And what did they proceed to do, especially during a year when we wouldn't have won those 48 games, if not for Dragic in a lot of cases, and Gerald Green as well. So what do they do? Well, they kind of show him that he's not their priority. And that's another one of the biggest debacles, is besides pushing my beloved Dragic out of the franchise and making him want to leave because of their lack of loyalty, coming from a franchise that for decades was all about loyalty and that, you know, just a good image and not bringing on players that are notorious for causing problems and, you know, for being head cases and stuff like that. The Suns were one of those squeaky clean franchises, kind of like the Utah Jazz, for instance, which is where it kind of makes sense that Hornacek, after being driven away the first time and traded in '92, and I was heartbroken. I cried over that as a kid. He was my favorite player, you know, but yeah, the Suns always had that squeaky clean image similar to Utah, but over the last few years, I think they've really kind of lost it. But, you know, that's neither here nor there, but, you know, McDonough has brought on some of these more, I don't want to say thugs or millennials or whatever some people may say, but it feels like a different type of team. It feels like a team that is just going against the grain of what they've always been about in a lot of cases. That loyalty, that, you know, good heart, good spirit, not just throwing money at something to try to fix a problem like the Lakers of the world or, you know, the Knicks or something. And so I really had high hopes for last year and this year, but they drive away Dragic, they bring on a third point guard. I mean, once again, McDonough, man, I don't know what you were thinking. And then secondly, you put all of your chips in one basket, or eggs in one basket, I should say, going for LaMarcus Aldridge. I know you came close, but, you know, you had a backup plan with the point guards. Why did you go for broke and not have some sort of fallback plan? You know, Tyson Chandler was not a fallback plan. Tyson Chandler was going to be an augmenter to this team if they got Aldridge, because without him, I mean, some of the other high character guys they drove away, from Nash to Grant Hill to, you know, even like a Channing Frye, I don't know. I don't think things have been handled well. And for Hornacek to be the guy who has to fall on the sword because, you know, Babby and McDonough cannot figure this out, and obviously that trickles up to Sarver. People have their thoughts about him. I'm not going to really bring him into the mix. Babby, I am surprised he's even still around at this point, because I thought he would have been gone with blanks, but, you know, what are you going to say? So, bottom line, this is a franchise that I'm so fearful about because they quit on this coach. It's very similar to the situation that transpired with Wiz a few years ago, you know, with the Cardinals, where it was like, you know, this is a good coach. He has been successful. I mean, Wiz took a team to a Super Bowl, you know. Hornacek won the most games of, you know, since this new regime of players in the post-Nash era. You know, Hornacek has seen the best success. And so, you know, the guy's capable, just like Wiz, but the problem is that this locker room that Ryan McDonough put for Hornacek to coach has been, I keep coming back to this D word, this debacle. It's been depressing, you know, and I really feel like a lot of these guys have given up on their coach. Not the young guys, you know. I've seen some improvement in the young guys. Devin Booker, Archie, I mean, it's been good in that respect, but it's the older guys, it's this clique of veterans, so to speak, that I question if they were really playing as hard for Mr. Hornacek as they should have been. So, yeah, I am very upset, as you have heard from this rant about the current situation. I don't think bringing on a Steve Nash or going for a nostalgia hiring like that, like a D'Antoni, is the way that this team needs to go. I'm being critical, but yet I don't have a suggestion as to where this team should go or who they should try to pick up. I mean, I feel just as lost as I get the impression they are too. So I'm forever going to love this team. I will forever support, but I'm not seeing a lot of light at the end of the tunnel, at least at the moment. I'm hoping for things to improve. Who knows? Maybe they'll finish the season strong, but even then, if they finish the season strong, I believe that's just pointing once again to the fact that this team, much to my chagrin and just, you know, sadness, gave up on Hornacek. So I'm very sad to see Hornacek leave again, and I will definitely shed a tear about this one, just like I did when he was traded to Philly, you know, back in the day. So in any event, I've been Jaime Enfuego. I want to extend a grande gracias for you listening to this diehard Phoenix Suns fan just rant for a few minutes about the state of this team, what I think has not been handled properly, and just kind of eulogize Mr. Jeff Hornacek, our coach, and a guy that I will forever have a load of respect for. So I've been Jaime Enfuego. You can find me just like you're seeing it spelled below. Jaime Enfuego, that's me. I do something called The Horror Show, Heavy Metal Television. That's both film and music related. But yeah, I love sports too. Mi deportes. And as a native here in Phoenix, Arizona, born and raised, I just felt inclined to Enfuegotorialize this recent development. So thanks again, gracias, and I look forward to talking, whether it's sports again on some interesting, you know, jaunted juncture, or whether it's more music and cinema that you connect with me about. So once again, thanks guys, and adios. See you next time.